phenomenal producer, Danielle Davis, is a proud alumni of Lincoln University. And unfortunately, Lincoln University lost a staff member recently. And so we have some people here. Councilman Antonio Lewis of District 12 is in the building, as well as LaShonda Jones, who is a proud alumni and a member of Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated.
Thank you for that.
In the building as well. To share what really happened to Dr. Bonnie Bailey, who is the former VP of Student Affairs at Lincoln University in Missouri, who died by suicide recently. And so, first of all, thank you all so much for joining us today. We appreciate you. And from your perspectives, can y'all give just a little bit about what really happened, how you're feeling, you as an alum, what's the alum, what's kind of like the schools take, like all that.
Also, like, what was the state beforehand?
Yeah.
Like, what was it? What do you feel like may have led her? What events could have potentially happened that led us to this point?
Right.
So, hi, how y'all doing? Thanks for having me on the show. I'm LaShonda Jones. I'm the president of the Atlanta Alumni Association.
Just scoot a little bit up into the mic for me, please.
Sorry about that.
Nah, you good.
Very
You good. You good.
I'm the president of the Atlanta Alumni Association. And here with me is one of my favorite alumni.
Well, I appreciate you, Ashani, and we hate for this to be the reason that we're here.
Yeah.
When you want a whole lot of background, I got a whole lot of information, because the two things I love, places I love, is Atlanta, Georgia, and Lincoln University of Missouri.
Yeah.
Today I wore both. Today I was able to wear a sweater with the city, but on my chest is Lincoln University.
Of course.
And in my heart is Lincoln University. I've been talking to the students and talking to the friends of Dr. Bunny, and the worst email I received this year. Worst email is at 7:15 Monday morning, when she sent that email to me. I'm one of the. I know she sent it to 5 people, but I'm one of 5 people. The 6th, I think. We know 5 of her friends she sent it to. And so when I got that email, after reading the first paragraph, I remember touching my wife, and I said, hold on. I think somebody might be about to commit suicide.
Okay.
Within the first paragraph, and I went to her Facebook page, because I never spoken to Dr. Bunny in my life.
There we go. Appreciate you.
I've never in my life spoken to Dr. Bunny. I've never met her before, never spoke with her before. So for her to choose to send me this email, let me know, like,
something's up.
Is real, and, but she knows I'm gonna do something about it. There's a manifesto. I wanna, even if you go through it and you read it, the toxic culture, the bullying. When she says he's presidenting like a basketball coach, right? And the mindset I went into was the mindset of Lane Kiffin, the football coach at Ole Miss. This year, he had a conversation with a young black brother who was going through some mental health issues. So he took 2 weeks off from football practice.
We talked about that.
Yeah, we talked about it.
And if you've seen how he talked to her, how he talked to him, if you look at the comments around that, you can hear some folks saying, hey, that kid needs to toughen up. That's how coaches talk to people. And so when she said that he presidents like a coach, I'm thinking about a white man coaching us. And a lot of folks don't know, Lincoln was my second university, right? I went to my first university on a college basketball scholarship, and I got coached like that by a white man.
Yeah.
Just like that. He said some stuff to me I never heard a person say. And so my mind immediately went into that mindset in that email. And so I had
he, just for context for those who are watching or listening, you're referring to is
President John B. Mosley, Lincoln University of Missouri, the former basketball coach, right?
Okay.
And so when they say he teaches like a coach,
Because he is a coach.
he's a coach. And it makes all the sense. Even the people that he hired, there were people that coached with him at the school before. Imagine our basketball coach got his PhD, then within 1 year became the president of the university.
That's wild.
He was interim, no PhD.
Oh.
You spoke about the culture, right? And you spoke to the culture. And what I'm most interested in is, because I'm trying to think of how I want to ask this, but I really want to know is, did she have the opportunity for help? Did they offer anything that even could be considered as help?
So in the email she asked. So the email she laid this stuff out. I mean, she left no stones untold.
Okay.
She
She
told us
absolutely
exactly
put
what
them
happened.
on notice.
She put them on
She put
notice
them, according to her email, she put them on notice.
and basically was given the you'll figure it out or chep up or
According
whatever.
to the email, there was it might have been a bias investigation.
Okay.
Because, like Antonio, I wasn't privy to what happened in the circumstances regarding Bonnie being let go. However, alumni contacted me when she was let go to let me know that this had happened. And there were conversations about how it seemed strange that she would get let go so soon. But those were just conversations, and they were very recent conversations because she had only recently been let go.
Hold on.
So I think that's important.
Yeah,
Is
set
to
a
speak
timeline.
on, her being at that school. How long did she work there?
The timeline is unfathomable.
May.
May. She started in May, and then
2023.
she got let go in December.
Yes, before that. So, well, the
Yeah, so
official
here-
firing December.
This is from the email she gives us a timeline.
Mm-hmm.
In that timeline, she was hired in May.
Okay.
She received some type of evaluation in July. There was a July,
And it was a
date.
really low number to my knowledge.
And I don't know at what
36.
point the number came out, whether it came out before July or in November.
Mm-hmm.
November.
But there was definitely a conversation, evaluation. Something happened in July. She had a date in August to respond, or something along those lines. And then she had mentioned in the email that she was wanting to reach out to get feedback, to give feedback, to have a conversation. It reads as if a conversation was never actually had, or whether if a conversation had happened, it wasn't. Her issues weren't taken seriously. And then November was what it seems like the official review, and then what it had to be the end of December, the beginning of January, in which she got let go. So it was a very short time frame.
And
Okay.
to speak to the email, speak to him specific, she did her eval July 18th after being hired in May 2023. She had to respond, had to have per HR and per to the PAC by August 23rd. And that was like you said,
I mean,
just
and then think
formality.
this isn't a job position where you get hired in May and you hit the ground running. It's a school.
Yeah.
Now, mind you,
Mm-hmm.
I'm not familiar with exactly how things work in a school, but when I think about it, students don't start school till August.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
They
So
don't.
then you have so that's August.
Mhm.
So then you have November. In 2 months, you were able to evaluate
Right.
that
Mm-hmm.
seriously to make a decision.
So it don't even
about
seem like a
keeping
full
someone.
semester.
No, around housing.
Yes.
So when you think about it, right, school, she got hired in May in student affairs. So they had a housing issue. We predicted a housing issue.
She was brought in and under a housing issue. There was a
Housing issue
that
already
needed to be
there.
resolved.
And so because the issue was already happening, he, according to her email, he got her to fire the alums that are already there. They still had not enough dorms for people. And so she got in trouble for that, and she got judged for that in July because she wasn't ready. She should be ready by August. Kids get there on August 20th. August 23rd, boom. No, nothing
July,
happened.
August. That at a month? You had a month to get to
And
fix
then-
the
and then
housing
according to
situation
the-
that was already there?
And then according to the email, he didn't accept that she couldn't get that done in that time period. And so she's the blame for that. Boom.
Got you. All right, we got to go to break. We're going to keep talking to Councilman Antonio Lewis and Lincoln Alumni President LaShonda Jones about Dr. Bonnie Bailey's unfortunate passing. We'll be right back on News and Talk 1380 WALK. LaShonda, can you give those facts of like timelines of like what was happening before Dr. Bailey and things like that?
And how many came before her? Like,
Yeah, so Bonnie was, I believe, the third VP of Student Affairs that was hired during John Mosley's term. And the other two either resigned or were let go in this position as well. So there have been a lot of turnaround in the position of the VP of Student Affairs in a short period of time. But you got to remember, Mosley has only been the president since 2021. And I think when we talk about the state of Lincoln and its community and its alumni, there have been some, I would say, friction surrounding bringing him on because it wasn't a typical process for hiring a president. Now, since I've been active and involved in the chapter, we've had several presidents where we, had to do an application process for, and typically there is, a period of time where they're taking in candidates, and then at some point they're bringing in the alumni and other interested parties to provide feedback on those candidates. And in this case, John Mosley was the interim president after 2021. Jump in,
Yep.
Antonio, we can.
And at that time period, I was the president of the Atlanta alumni chapter, and so my hands were all over it. And because the selection process for a president is a huge thing for a university, so during the March 2021 period, I was working with our former president, Dr. Woolfolk, and in her cabinet sat John Mosley, who had yet to receive his PhD at the time. He was the athletic director. She was let go at the end of that semester, and he received his PhD from the neighboring school. That semester, he and his wife both received their PhD, and he was the only person in her cabinet at that time, because when they let her go, sometimes they let go the other staff who had a PhD.
So no one else had a PhD besides him at the time.
And to be president of a university,
you have to have a
PhD.
PhD.
So the provost had got fired. Think about it, they were firing so many folks. So boom, he was already over what I call an athletic club, the Booster Club in Missouri, in Jefferson City, Missouri. So he was able to build relationships with I'm a politician, with the politicians in Missouri, through funding. So one of the politicians goes on to be the governor. When you live in some states like Georgia and like Missouri, the governor tells you you're going to be the college of your state school. And I want to be specific. In the state of Georgia, do anybody know who the chancellor of the Board of Regents is?
I don't.
Sonny Perdue, the former governor. What does he know to hire and fire all the presidents of public schools in the state of Georgia? That's what the president of the Board of Regents do. So the state of Missouri, same thing. So imagine he got a buddy who the governor now.
Yeah.
And so he's and that's my inside part of that's my own feelings part right there.
Right.
So he's the only person in the cabinet who's left and has a PhD now. He's supposedly the golden child of bringing in money to the athletic program, even though we didn't have an athletic program with money. Then, so he becomes interim president. While interim president, the board then selects a committee to select a president. He submitted his name. At the time, our current Alumni Association nationwide president would sit on the selection committee, but he applied to run to be president, so he had to recuse himself from sitting on that board. Then the board of curators, the board of curators, the chair of the board of curators is always the chair of the selection committee for the president, right? So that person gets to choose who's going to be from the Alumni Association, who's going to be next up. We didn't get to vote on that. We didn't vote on him, on the person who came in charge. So the board of curators gets to choose.
Provide feedback.
They didn't accept any feedback, so they chose a person.
Got you.
He was supposed to be the representative to the Alumni Association. He signed a waiver on day one that said he cannot talk about what they were meeting about. So he never reported back to the Alumni Association. The Alumni Association board, a representative to select the president, never reported back to the Alumni Association.
So to be clear, because we kind of brought in another person, there was a committee and someone on the board, the National Alumni Association, had a representative on that selection committee.
Okay.
He's on the board. However, he signed documents saying
He
that
couldn't
this
report
is,
back.
Yeah, confidential.
Right.
So there wasn't
Any news
No.
coming back to y'all?
there wasn't any real feedback. It was someone who represents the association as a part of the selection process, and
That's it.
that's kind of
Yeah. And so that means they got to choose their person. Boom. They select. He's in interim role. The alumni were loud.
So
and
this is
clear.
where there's no say as far as, because what I'm seeing on the internet is this is a white man who is a president of an HBCU.
yes.
So therefore, it just seems that nobody really had a say as far as, or even taking that into consideration. Correct?
we tried to
That's
fight
correct.
it. We had no say.
And to be clear, it didn't necessarily have to be a fight, and it doesn't necessarily have to be about color, because any president who comes in unopposed with
Good
no
intentions.
experience,
Yeah.
you want to say, hey, we got some concerns,
Yeah.
but you're here now. So where do we meet those concerns? How do you put me in a place of feeling like you're going to have the best interest for my institution? And it originally started off, and now I'm speaking from my position as the Atlanta chapter president, because that puts me on the board, the national board, and in a position where I have to work directly with you and build these bridges. And I'm gonna just my interest is Lincoln University, hands down. Lincoln University, the community, the students, the staff. Like, I want to see it thrive. I have my hands in all parts. I want to know. I'm open. I met with him. I went to his fundraisers. So I'm on the National Association. I'm meeting with the university. I'm meeting with anyone interested, because if I don't know, how can I even be involved? And it started off where there was, sort of a bridge, and the bridge just kind of shut down. And so we moved forward from the short time frame of 2021 to, let's go back to, we just had the Alumni Association had a national convention in the summertime. And originally he had told us he wasn't coming and he wasn't going to send a representative. However, like I said, we did, we had some issues, but people were trying. And there's a group, the Young Alumni the Young Alumni Scholarship. They put together an award ceremony, and the president supported it completely.
Divide and conquer.
He came, he sat in the front row, he spoke at it, he was excited, he talked about building bridges, and the alumni came back and said, how dare you show up for a dinner and an award and you can't make time for the work. The work happens at the National Convention. So he came to the National Convention. But he came, he delivered a planned presentation for the time slot we gave him, and he left. And that was how the relationship was. I'm gonna tell you what I'm gonna do, and then
I'm leaving.
Yeah. And that was my relationship. That's how I felt as a president of a chapter. So I had concerns.
And when he was first in office, that's when I was president. Part of the reason why I haven't been back to Lincoln University since, right? When he was first elected, I was the president of the Atlanta chapter. And from a town hall in which I asked him a question about land grant funding, I felt so disrespected in how a president could talk to a president of a chapter. I had yet to come back to Lincoln University since, right?
Oh, that speaks volumes.
And so, but here's a caveat to that. I'm able to talk to presidents of universities. I'm able to talk to Dr. French down at Clark. I'm able to have real relationships with Dr. Brian Blake at Georgia State University. So I know relationships that presidents of universities have with elected officials who bring money. So whenever I come in, I'm bringing dollars too. So when I'm at the alumni meeting, I make sure that I bring in a funder who's going to give you the biggest check in the room. Like right now, Tuesday, all of our students at Lincoln University, they will not be going to class this Tuesday. They're going to shut the school down. You know what when they reached out to me, you know what they said? They said, we need to have a way to eat. we need to have where to eat. So from here in Atlanta, you know what I did? I made one phone call, and we're going to pay for all their food up there at Chick-fil-A.
Man.
So imagine the president of the university not wanting to deal with a person who would bring in resources
Right.
because I wasn't go along to get along.
Yeah.
They got a lot of go and divide and conquer. When you say he goes to one meeting but not the other,
Yeah.
come on, man, I'm seeing these tactics. But
Yeah.
I'm playing at a level in a city with a $14 billion budget, and they talking about $20 million. And so I just fell back until we came now. Right now, the university needs us. Right now, it's time for me to come out the shadows and fight for the people that need us to fight for.
We are still here talking about Dr. Bonnie Bailey, who committed suicide. She was the VP of Student Affairs at Lincoln University in Missouri. We have Councilman Antonio Lewis and Lincoln alumni president for the Atlanta chapter, LaShonda Jones, still here in the building with us. I want to talk a little bit more about Dr. Bailey, right? Go ahead.
Sorry. Okay. So what was there anything beforehand that you guys knew about Dr. Bailey, or any like complaints? Did she have any complaints that she filed against him or said about him that you guys knew of?
I didn't personally know, but according to her email, she requested FMLA for her mental health issues.
Okay.
So according to her email, she's spoken through all of the people. According to her email, she was in daily conversation with HR about some of her mental health issues. But guess what? Dr. Mosley denied her FMLA.
Oh.
So here's the thing also. Dr. Bailey had mental health issues, applying for FMLA. Dr. Mosley denies it, right? There's a housing situation that's already occurred. We brought this up earlier just for anybody who just tuning in. There was a housing issue going on in July. School starts in August.
In that month's time, he expected her to change that.
He expected her to fix the problem.
But prior to her, let's also keep in mind, prior to her, there were two other people who were in her position
Right.
that also came in and got let go.
And so she wasn't able to fix the housing situation. Students still didn't have places to stay and stuff like that. She complains about bullying, about not be there. And she sends an email, a 10-page email to certain people. Councilman is one of the people who got one. You got one too?
Antonio forwarded it to me.
Okay.
I think, maybe out of proper protocols, being the chapter president, and then also knowing that there are people we can reach out to, because at the time the letter came out, we didn't know if she was okay or not. I remember the first two sentences of his email. It said, I just want to know if she's been found, if she's alive or okay. So we kind of went into rally mode after that.
And I know, well, maybe you might know, if a person is denied FMLA, right? I get, is that legal? Like, can you?
It's an extended leave.
Can
So
you
I
do
don't know if
that?
y'all know. Look, we keep talking about Shani. This is attorney LaShonda Jones. She might not got.
Oh,
Okay,
sorry.
okay.
Excuse me. Put some respect on. Attorney, can you? Is that legal? Can he deny FMLA, or is it appropriate to deny FMLA to a person who has mental health issues?
FMLA, I think it was a reasonable accommodation request, and I believe there was an investigation. Now, this is coming from what I read in the letter, and her response on that investigation was that it wasn't an impartial investigation, and so maybe he followed the protocols, and the investigator said there's not enough here, and that might have been, he might have done everything he was supposed to under the letter of employment law. Now, I'm not an employment lawyer, so I'm not going to speak to whether he did something that I believe that the family would have a cause of action against, but we don't know. We really don't know if things were handled the right way.
I'll tell you this. She said he was heartless, and to read his email, you can see how heartless he was after she tried to discuss the evaluation. Bunny, hello. Any of your comments about the evaluation? may be noted or attached to it. It will be placed with the sign evaluation in the personnel file, but nothing will be changed. Your sign evaluation with any comments should be returned no later than 12/20. So he was the judge and the jury.
And then there's the board of curators who she followed up with, and their response was, "This is a personnel matter. We won't respond to it."
Man, so how, again, News and Talk 1380 WAOK, Voice in the Streets Unfiltered. If you're just tuning in, we're talking to Lincoln University in Missouri alumni, Councilman Antonio Lewis, as well as
Attorney.
Yeah, I was say Esquire. What do we? Attorney LaShonda Jones, who is the alumni president for the Atlanta chapter. What is student life like right now? You know, for those that if y'all are connected and stuff like that, what's the pulse of campus like right now for how they feeling?
So and I don't know how much interaction you've had, but I first saw the students protesting. They aren't back on campus until Tuesday, first of all.
Okay.
So the student leadership that is on campus, they went to a special board of curator meeting. They protested at that because their voices were not heard. They've then reached out to alumni across the country to raise funding to have a sit-in. Mm-hmm. They're a sit out or walk out to demand that John Mosley no longer be president of Lincoln University. They're not going to go to class on the first day of class, all of them. And so what we've done in the city of Atlanta, when I heard about this clarion call that they sent out, I was able to communicate with the SGA president and the former Mr. Lincoln University, Ty Stovall, and we were able to come up with a way where Mac Wilburn and right here down here in Atlanta and Mac Enterprise is going to be paying for all the food for the students at Lincoln University on Tuesday. So that's one role, that's one step, because the students are they're going to be active. I know myself, I told these same students, because I'm planning with them now on the next step for organizing on how to keep the pressure going, ongoing pressure. Mm-hmm. And so on February 8th, the goal is to bring as many students as well and alumni to that board of curated meeting to show them we ain't playing. Mm-hmm. And we standing on the business. This is the generation that's going to be known for standing on the business.
Yeah, I hear that.
And more to that, when we're talking about how the students are, I'm not, haven't been on campus. I haven't seen anything like for myself, but I know from what they put out there, it is heartbreaking, because the last live that we had where they actually tried to attend that board of curators meeting, 1 minute into the meeting, they voted to close the meeting and they sent them kids home. The girl was crying on the clip. She could not believe it. I think her words were, they just don't care about us. They just don't care about us. And they had the local police,
escort them out.
Police. Yeah.
Escort the students out of the meeting that they say they supposed to be able to be at.
Yes, that is exactly.
And according to the bylaws, man. So when I say go along to get along world, in a small world, you're able to do what you want to. According to the bylaws, the only people who can always talk in the board of curator meeting, the only people who can always petition the board of curators to talk are the students. Everybody else have to put in a 2-week notice before the board of curators meeting. Here's the caveat to that. The only thing that may be different on that is that this was a special call board of curators. We want a regular scheduled meeting. If it was a regular scheduled meeting, maybe the regularly scheduled rules follow. But a special meeting, they may say they suspended some rules, because with them telling the students, and you can watch it, they were wrong. And I went into the bylaws as I watched that same live that you're talking about to see who all can talk. And I found out, like, you, if the students come to the board of curators meeting, they ask any question, they're supposed to have to listen to them.
Recently, also, the president of Harvard University, Dr. Gay, who is a black woman, was let go.
She had the shortest time period as president
of Harvard University, right? And so I heard the president of Morehouse College talk about a little bit about the same type of bullying or oppression things that are happening at these institutions of higher learning, right? With black women, black men not being able to fully exercise their rights at these institutions because of the hierarchy and the powers that be behind the scenes. You all being alumni of Lincoln and the things that are happening with Dr. Bailey, or that happened with Dr. Bailey, do you all see any type of connection or any type of theme that seems to be going on in our institutions of higher learning, whether they be at HBCUs or at PWIs or whatever? Do y'all see any connections? Because I'm gonna be straight up, I see a connection, something shaky going on that's not right. But I want to know from y'all's thoughts. What do y'all see?
My perspective is that these are different scenarios in the sense that the positions were different.
Okay.
But these are the same scenarios. People in positions of power ostracizing black women, educated, talented, successful black women in positions of power. And it's just unfortunate. I mean, it doesn't matter if you're the president of Harvard.
Mm-hmm.
You can get stepped on and pushed out.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't matter if you're the vice president of your own HBCU, among your alums, the students who walked on the same campus as you. You can get stepped on and you can get pushed out. I'm grateful that Dr. Gay stepped down and said, you know what? Y'all
I'm
can
good.
have it.
Yeah.
Y'all can have it. And I would give anything to turn back the hands of time and have Dr. Bailey say, y'all can have it.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I am grateful. I think the word is indebted. I feel like it's so much bigger and so much talk and so much atmosphere change that her actions were absolutely not in vain. And being on the side of watching things unfold and feeling treated the same way in a certain sense, that I don't feel like I had an ability to make a change from my university.
Mm-hmm.
Her actions are making a change at Lincoln University, and it's heartbreaking, but it's a change.
I'll tell you that I look at it in different ways, right? And so I look at the position of the presidency. Dr. Claudine Gay was, to me, overqualified for that position. They went through, if you think about the folks at Harvard, unless you're going to say the folks at Harvard are, unless you're going to say y'all are lesser than, right? If you're going to, your board of curators, your board of regents that selected your president, unless you're going to say you did not do your due diligence to make sure that her credited work was credited, unless you're going to admit to that out loud, I think that she was qualified for her position. So we talk about the way she got the job, right? She had to go through all the rigmaroles to get it. In Lincoln, we saw some privilege, right? We saw them give the basketball coach the presidency. This white man then treats the presidency like a basketball coach job. The seasoned professionals like Dr. Bunny, who's worked at R1 institutions, that's mean top flight institution. I mean, Harvard type institutions, R1 institutions for 18 years. She said, hey, this atmosphere is like is different. I've never seen this. And so they say it's like a coaching atmosphere. Other professors say it's like a coaching atmosphere. And so we have an unqualified person who keep messing up but going up, right? He got his degree 1 year before becoming the president. Not even a year, not even a full year. Because
I believe he received it during his interim.
Doing this, and so
I don't got the timeline.
that's a real thing, right? And so they went through that. I'll give you an example, right? So when you say that, do they parallel? So now, as the alums, after Dr. Claudine Gay went and had a conversation, was requested by Congress to come and have and do her job, right? And have a conversation. They didn't like, her alumni did not like some of the questions, the way she answered some of the questions. They then did whatever it took to make her step down. They bullied her, did whatever it takes. I think what needs to be said it in different. I don't know how to say this for a lack of a better way of saying it.
I mean, just
think
be straight
what
up.
needs to be strong is the Alumni Association of Lincoln University protecting our university against what we see as a flaw. Harvard University alumni thought they saw a flaw in Dr. Gay's resume. They said she's a cheat. That's what they said. And so I'm telling you, we see a flaw. We say he's using our university. So now we got to stand up, and I want to see if
Push
his
him out.
privilege.
Yeah.
I want to see if that privilege is going to keep him there, because she stepped down because she saw what was happening. I wonder if he gonna step down. We asking him to leave.
He's
we
on
begging him to
voluntary
leave.
Paid.
Voluntary
leave.
paid leave. We begging him to leave. The university ain't moving right. We don't need you right now. Let us fix ourselves. We begging you to leave. And so they begged her to leave. She said, my grandma always told me, if don't nobody want you here, get up out of there.
Yeah.
You don't even supposed. If they don't want you in that house, get out that house. We don't. The alumni are speaking loud and clear. The students just said they ain't going to class on Tuesday. This happening under your watch.
Yeah. And
Step down, brother.
My thing is, I'm really not the person to be like, this ain't about color. Like, because everything's about color.
Yeah.
Let's just be real. But in this scenario, this could have been a black woman president. Look at what's going on in my university. Look what happened under your watch. Look what the state of affairs is. You need to step back. You need to collect your things and say, this happened. Now I need to go, because this community is not going to be what it needs to be with me being here. You need to have the grace and the responsibility to say, I'm not going to cause any more harm. And so I don't like, I wrote a letter to the Board of Curators. My letter to the Board of Curators does not mention a person. My letter to the Board of Curators mentions a position.
Yeah.
And the position of president comes with responsibilities. And those responsibilities, to me, have
not been
breached.
met.
And so now we have to do something to move forward. And if everybody has to go, then everybody has to go. But what can't happen is the university can't be run like this. The kids on the campus can't go to class looking on the wall every day to see a reminder of what has happened and what could be changed. So it's not the person. It's the situation. And some situations call for drastic change.